What's up, everyone? This is the Political Brown Kid. I'm going to revisit something that I said before. I do believe I said this in a post that I've made, but it was so long ago. But I'm going to reiterate this point because I was just thinking about it the other day. I've been watching a few other people's channels. This is one particular brother. He actually does pretty good content. I differ from him in some positions because he's advocating for divesting from black women. I'm not for that. I think that we need to come together. There's differences that we have as within the black race. We just need to come together on that. But I've been watching a few content creators, and lately they've been talking about um, the black women dating out. And this is what I'm going to say because you hear a lot of black females promoting a negative narrative that they get treated better by white men, which I don't believe is the truth. And I'm not even going to talk about that portion in this. What I'm going to focus on, it was a white woman who's trying to provide misleading information out there to the masses. And this video that she did is very old. I've seen it last year, but I'm revisiting it now. She did a video where she kind of provided some statistics about different races marrying one another, and she showed what the percentage of divorce was between black men and black women, white women and black men, white women and white men, so forth, so forth. She provided various combinations. So she basically said that black women, she showed that black women had the lowest divorce rate when they were with white men. But the truth of that matter is this. A lot of people say ignorant things, and one ignorant thing, and I know I heard Jay-Z say it, and of course, anything coming out of his mouth is probably going to be ignorance because let's just keep it real. The man is ignorant. He has a high school degree. He was a drug dealer. It doesn't take anything to make $1 billion. I mean, I'm not going to say that I couldn't make $1 billion, but you don't have to be smart to make $1 billion. A lot of billionaires are not educated smartness. They're not educated per se. So I'm going to say this, because Jay-Z came up with that narrative, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie. Numbers do lie. And I'm going to tell you why. If numbers do not provide complete context, aka a perspective, they lie. If you don't provide the total data set that comes with those numbers, they lie. So as an example, if I gave you some statistics that said XYZ number of women are getting inducing or terminating pregnancies, and then I try to provide a narrative to show that women are irresponsible because they're having all of these terminated pregnancies. If I don't provide you with some context behind that to say, well, what number of these terminations due to some type of unforced forced encounter, or due to I don't know if I can say the word incest, but I'm going to say it, and hopefully it doesn't get triggered or anything. But like, if you don't have context behind why some certain actions are being done, then the numbers aren't providing the numbers are very misleading. Thus, they're lying. It may not be a lie, but it is definitely misleading individuals. So let me give you two examples, and I'm going to provide two just so people can relate. One example would be this. If I gave you a quarterback and I showed you and I said, this quarterback right here, he threw 5,000 passes over his career. He threw 5,000 passes. And of those 5,000 passes, 200 of those passes were intercepted. And then I compared him to another quarterback. And I said, well, this quarterback threw 10 passes over his career. 7 of those passes were completed. And none of them were intercepted. Most people are going to say, well, this guy has 0 interceptions, and this other guy has 200 interceptions. So I want the guy that has 0, the guy with 0 interceptions or better. And let me give you another example. So you guys know where I'm going with this. Another example would be this. You're doing some online shopping, because I do this all the time. You're doing online shopping on whatever platform you're doing it on. You see a product, and let's just say you're looking for Egyptian cotton bed sheets. I'm using that example because I love Egyptian cotton bed sheets. I bought a whole bunch of them. I love it. Best sleep you'll ever get. Love those sheets. So you're looking for some bed sheets or comforter, whatever it is you're looking for. And you see about 5 or 6 different products. One product has 5,000 reviews and it only has a 4.1 rating. 4.1. It's like you're like, oh my God, this is almost in the threes. But then you're looking at these other products and they have like 51 reviews. They're all 5 stars. One is like 4.6, 4.7. Then you have another one that has 6 reviews and it has a perfect 5. You may say, hey, that perfect 5 one, I'm going for that one because this one has 5 stars. Well, you don't know who reviewed it. It could be, because I'm telling you, a lot of times, because I have a business, and you'll tell people, hey, look, man, just go up there and give me 5 stars. Go up there, hey, look, I need everybody to go up there and support my business. Give me 5 stars. What that does is you don't know who did those reviews. You don't know how many of those reviews are true. There's a certain thing when you look at, and I'm going to get to what I'm talking about now is, there's a certain thing, if you've ever done statistics, and statistics is the hardest subject you will ever come across in college in your life. It starts off real easy about percentages of a flip of a coin or the roll of a dice or a die. And, what the percentage is it's going to be 6 or what's the percentage is it's going to be heads or tails. That's easy. But then it ramps up fast, hard and fast. And the thing with statistics is, and I used to do this on my job, is sample size population and also a term standard deviation. Now, I hope I still have those terms right because it's been years since I took statistics. I've been out of college for a while. But when you do statistics, you have to look at your sample size. And the one thing that we do know is that Black women and white men have just recently started marrying. Black women have just recently started kind of dipping their toe into the pool for non-Black men. Black men have dipped their toes out far more than Black women have, and I'm not saying that to be proud of that. I don't think that that's anything to be proud of. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not for interracial dating. So what I'm saying is this: when you look at the percentage of Black women that have married out, or when you look at the percentage of Black men that have been married, it's really high because Black men have been getting married and they've been marrying out for a while. When you look at the percentage of Black women who at least marry anyone, including Black men, it's only 24% of Black women over their lifetime will be married. 24% over their lifetime. That includes marrying their own kind. So when you look at that 24% of Black women that are getting married, really only 2% of them are marrying interracially. Black men, it's a lot higher. So once again, your sample size population is bigger. It's kind of like you doing a sample size population to say, you're saying, hey, look, let's pick on FUBU real quick. You've been hired by FUBU to do a study. And they say, let's do a study on how people like the FUBU brand. You go to Philadelphia and you interview 50 people and call it a day and say, look, I interviewed people. You don't even say how many people you interview. You just say, I interviewed people and 96% of them said they love FUBU and they wear it every day. And then FUBU takes your word as gold, pays you, and then they come back a year or two later and say, well, why did FUBU suck? Why does it fail? And I'm not trying to say it sucks or fails. I'm just using it as an example. So forgive me, Damon John and company. So they're like, well, why did it fail? So then they hire somebody else to do a study. And that person said, well, look, I'm not going to. And then first they ask you, well, who did you interview? And you say, I interviewed 50 people in Philadelphia. And they say, you know what? You're fired. And you know why they're going to fire you? Because you only interviewed 50 people. The standard deviation for you just interviewing 50 people is probably very high. It's probably over 20%. So that means it could be 20%, right in either direction, right or wrong. So they hire someone else to do it, and that person says, we're going to interview about 60,000 people. We're going to interview people from New York, we're going to go back to Philly, we're going to go to the Midwest, we'll go down south, we'll go to Atlanta, we'll go to Houston, we'll go to California, we'll go to Chicago. And what they find out is people say, FUBU sucks. We don't wear that stuff. We don't like this, we don't like that. Because now they've interviewed 50,000 people. So as the pop, and then they did it from different backgrounds and different coasts, different cultures. So now the sample size population is huge. The standard deviation is probably now down to about 1 to 2%, or maybe between less than 5%, either way, up or down. So when you look at this interracial dating, for when they're trying to say that black women do better or best when they marry white men, that standard deviation is going to change as they start dating out more and more. Because what women are going to find out is that men are men no matter where you go. You're going to stay with them for 5 years, 10 years, and you're going to realize that this man, whether he's white, black, Eskimo, you're going to realize he gets on your nerve the same way that a black man would. You're going to find the same problems that you're going to run into. After 5 or 10 years, it's a lack of communication, a lack of excitement. He don't want to do this. He don't want to travel. He want to stay there. You're going to find the same problems because men are men no matter where you go. Look at what's going on with Travis. This girl, Kayla Nicole, keeps coming up. I had no idea. Now I know her name. But she keeps coming up, and I guess she's still, traumatized and kind of, salty about, the lifestyle that she used to have with Travis Kelce. But here she is, black female, dating a white guy in the NFL. He didn't pay for anything in their relationship. He was a miser. Basically, black women asked black men to open doors, take them to fancy restaurants, do this, do that, buy them this, buy them that, be a thug and read poetry. We have to live in both worlds. We have to be super cool, but yet, cater to their needs. It's just a lot of stuff that they want from us. But when they were white guys, they asked for the bare minimum. So Travis Kelce leaves her and he gets Taylor Swift. And now she's left behind. Halle Berry has married everybody. She married a white guy, dated a black guy, married a black guy. She's been, I think, with Christopher Williams, Eric Benet, Eddie Murphy, Wesley Snipes. Some of those may or may be wrong. Just saying that for legal purposes. She went to the white guy that she married. They got divorced, and then she claimed that he called her the N-word. Then he said that their child wasn't black. So now they're fighting over the race identity of the baby, or they were. And then she made some racial accusations against them. Then she moved on to, I think, a Hispanic or some kind of guy. She couldn't stay there. You look at Garcelle Bouvier, I think that's the way you say her name. She's been cheated on by several white men. All of them left her. You look at Gary Owens. Gary Owens left. He went out for milk and never came back. Told his wife, "I'll be right back." Went out, left her and the family. And says now, I think the daughter the daughter wouldn't even accept his money to pay for her college. That's when you're mad at somebody. When somebody trying to pay for your college and that person like, "No, thank you, I'm good." Or you try to pay for something. Because I think she's down in North Carolina A&T. She's like, "I'm good, don't even worry about it." He done left her, moved on to another black woman. Gonna leave that one to. I can run down. I can keep going. If you want me to keep going, I can. I'm just throwing off the 3 that I figure out off the top of my head. We ain't even talking about Tamar Braxton. We ain't even gonna talk about that. But you all know the story. So what I'm trying to hopefully get across to black women is this: men are men, regardless of where you go. Sometimes you have to look and say, what's the common denominator? What's been the factor in all of my relationships? Because trust me, I'm trying to do that with myself. I know what role I played in the demise of my relationships. And sometimes you just get better and you improve. Sometimes that's also why it's worthy of giving another individual a second chance. You look at the story that Terry Crews told on Shannon Sharp's show. I just listened to that interview and I thought it was beautiful. Terry Crews, talked about his infidelity and how he, went and got help for his behavior and how his wife stuck it out with him. And now he's like, I'm proving to her every day that I am the man that she wanted me to be. So let me say this, because you don't want to put in time in a relationship. You don't want to, if you've put in 5 or 10 years, there's got to be, you've obviously loved that person to stick around with that person. Sometimes it's just finding a reason. If that person makes a mistake, even if it's infidelity, now if the Joker tried to off you, that's something totally different. That is something totally different. But if it's just something like, the person is struggling through an addiction or the person is, had an infidelity, I think that those are things that you can overcome if the person is ready, willing, and able to put in the work. Why would you want to throw away those amount of years and that love for that person? Because if that person gets it, then that person is, you just made that person a better man for the next woman. When you can be like, okay, he went through his troubles, I caught him in his trouble, we can work through it, and now he's gotten better. I see him putting in the work, because the version 2.0 of that man is going to be different, because now he's like, I learned from my mistake. I was faced with the consequences or the realization of what I was about to lose. And that's the reality, because sometimes it takes a reality of being fearful of losing someone to make you see the error in your ways. And once that person sees the error in their ways and if they correct them or willing to correct them and walk through them, I know that you're going to lose trust in that individual, and you probably should. But the man that you may be getting, the second version of him, may be so much better. So why make him a better man for another woman? And then you have to go back out on the dating market and then try to figure out if the next man is going to cheat on you, or if the next man is going to beat you, or if the next man is going to run off with your money, when you knew the man that you had now and he was working on himself. So I really admired his story, and even kind of like with Kirk Franklin's story. I remember him. I think this was some years ago. I hope I have this correct, but I do remember. I think Kirk Franklin went through an addiction, an adult content addiction. I don't know if I can use the S word, the three-letter S word here, but he had an adult content addiction, and I do believe that was Kirk Franklin. If it wasn't you, I do apologize. But he was going through some things where he wanted to, I guess he was out there with his fantasies and trying to pull his wife into certain things, and he got help for it. I don't know if he's still married or not, but I know at the time they worked through it. Sometimes you have to go through those storms. That's what marriage is about. It's about, going through the good time and the bad time with your spouse. Your spouse has an addiction, help them go through it. Your spouse has something now, like I said, if it becomes where that person isn't trying to get the help they need, then you possibly do have to step away. But if you see that that person is trying, stick with that person, love that person, because that's the person that you chose. And, you don't want to blow away the years, the family, and all of the other stuff, especially if that person is going to become a better version of themselves. So I'm going to wrap this up now because I'm just repeating myself. This is the Political Brown Kid. I hope you got something from this. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. And if you definitely want to like and subscribe, please do so. Be well.